Good day, my dear students, and welcome to my class. For today's lesson, we are going to learn about conditional sentences. What are conditional sentences? Examples using conditionals in expressing arguments, and how to write conditional sentences. Let us start our lesson by unlocking the meaning of conditional sentences. Conditional sentences are statements discussing known factors or hypothetical situations and their consequences. When we say hypothetical, these are possible situations, statements, or questions about something imaginary rather than something real. When expressing arguments, you need to be able to use complete conditional sentences that contain a conditional clause, often referred to as the if clause, and the consequence. There are 4 types of conditional sentences. The first conditional sentence is the zero conditionals. Zero conditional sentences express general truths, situations in which one thing always causes another. This also usually do in real-life circumstances and habits. When you use a zero conditional, you are talking about a general truth rather than a specific instance of something. We use this pattern for zero conditionals. You can have either if and when, or rather if or when, plus the simple present tense and another simple present tense, or simple present tense, then if or when, and another simple present tense. Consider these following examples. If the weather is good, she rides a bicycle. Another example, I read when I have free time. There are a couple of things to take note of in the above sentences in which the zero conditional is used. First, when using the zero conditional, the correct tense to use in both clauses is the simple present tense. A common mistake is to use the simple future tense. Secondly, notice that the words if and when can be used interchangeably in these zero conditional sentences. This is because the outcome will always be the same, so it doesn't matter if or when it happens. Second, we have the first conditionals. First conditional sentences are used to express situation in which the outcome is likely but not guaranteed to happen in the future. We have the sentence pattern if plus simple present and simple future. Look at these examples. If you don't hurry, you will be late for school. If you go to medical school, you will need to manage your time. The outcome is likely to happen but not guaranteed. Note that we use the simple present tense in the if clause and simple future tense in the main clause. Main clause is the clause that expresses the likely outcome. This is how we indicate that under a certain condition, as expressed in the if clause, a specific result will likely happen in the future. Examine some of the common mistakes people make using the first conditional structure. If you will rest, you will feel better. The second sentence is, if you rest, you will feel better. In the first sentence, the future tense is used in the if clause, which is wrong. The correct example is the second sentence. Remember, use the simple present tense in the if clause. Then, the second conditionals. The second conditional sentences are used to talk about what you would do in an unlikely or improbable situation, or useful for expressing outcomes that are completely unrealistic or will not likely happen in the future. This conditional gives a hypothetical condition and a probable result. Here are the sentence patterns. If, simple past, would plus verb, would plus verb, then if, and simple past. Let's have the examples. If I won the lottery, I would buy a house. Second example, I would travel more if I had money. Notice the correct way to structure second conditional sentences. It is to use the simple past tense in the if clause and an auxiliary modal verb. For example, could, should, would, or might in the main clause, the one that expresses the unrealistic or unlikely outcome. The following sentences illustrate a couple of the common mistakes people make when using the second conditional. The first sentence is, if I inherit $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. For the second sentence, if I inherited $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. The first sentence is incorrect, while the second sentence is the correct example of second conditionals. Take note, when applying the second conditional, use the simple past tense in the if clause. And lastly, we have the third conditionals. The third conditional sentences are used to describe actions that you wish you had done differently, or that something could have happened differently if the conditions had been different. Note that when using the third conditional, we use this sentence pattern. If plus past perfect, then would have and past participle, or would have plus past participle, if, and past perfect. For examples, I would have bought 2 books if I had enough money. Another example, if Sheila had studied harder, she would have passed the examination. These sentences express a condition that was likely enough but did not actually happen in the past. That ends our lesson. I hope you learned a lot today.